Let's use the VNTANA Clo plugin to export, upload, and optimize our teacher that we have ready here. Before we actually start using the plugin, I want to check my garment to make sure it's ready to go actually. There are a few settings we just always want to check before we export as a GLB, whether you're doing it manually or through the plugin. So first, just rotate around your garment and make sure there's no mistakes. Sometimes you can have like an internal piece poking through the exterior, so make sure it is exactly what you want before you start all those exporting steps. Now we just want to make sure that we have the thick surface setting on, and we do. I want to make sure that I have my maps on my fabric, and yes, I have the maps that I need on my fabric. The minimum maps are your texture or base color, your normal, and a roughness map. Let's check the rib really fast. We have our texture, normal, and a roughness. So those are good to go. We want to double check our top stitching, and we want to make sure that our type is set to texture, and it is. Now I'm going to export with unified UV coordinates, so we need to toggle to the UV editor and make sure that our pattern pieces are actually set up in, for this garment specifically, we need to make sure the pieces are set up in one UV space, and we are. Let's go ahead and just scoot that down a little. We want to provide enough space between our pattern pieces. When we go ahead and export, we are adding a fill seam, so the pattern pieces will expand 1 millimeter, and we want to go ahead and make sure that the extension does not intersect another pattern piece. So let's just give some of these pieces some space. Okay, and that should be good. Don't forget, when you are using unified UV coordinates, we do not want any of our pattern pieces to cross over any of these lines. And again, they should not overlap with each other. Okay, cool. So we are all set and ready to use the plugin. The plugin can be found in Settings, Plugin, and you can toggle to the VNTANA Clo exporter. When you open the plugin for the first time, you will need to sign in. You can sign in through an authentication key or through email. I recommend signing in through the authentication key because once you sign in with this one time, you do not have to sign in with it again unless you've updated Clo or the plugin. If you sign in with email, you'll have to sign in with your email every time you open the plugin window. Okay, so the first screen that we'll see is asking us where we want to upload our asset to. So this is the VNTANA platform section. Your organization is most likely your default organization, but your folder, you may need to change your folder. I want to upload to the Erin folder, so I'm going to leave it at that setting. If you needed to make a new folder because you realized during this step that the folder wasn't created yet, you can actually go ahead and create that folder in the plugin. So press the plus icon, and then you can type in your new folder name. If that's exactly what you want, you can press the check mark to create the folder and upload to it. I don't want to create this folder right now, so I'm going to hit the X button and leave it at Erin. Okay, so now under the Clo Files section, we need to specify if we are going to export the current colorway. And if we do need to set an export folder. So I'm actually going to keep it. I would like to export my file to this folder here, but you can also export and upload a batch of files. So to do this, you uncheck current project only. The output folder name has changed to garment folder. And this is where you select the folder with multiple Clo projects that you would like to export and upload. So it's already set to my batch export folder. So I'm just going to leave it here and select open. This is only if I wanted a batch upload. I don't want a batch upload today. I'm just going to select the current project only, and I can keep my output folder as that same batch export folder. So we'll leave that there, and let's go to the next screen. So here we can actually set some basic settings for the export. I do not want my avatar included. I do want unified UVs. Remember, we set up our UV editor. And let's see, maybe I want 2 colorways. Let's go ahead and export only a current colorway. So here we have the option to export the current colorway, a selection of colorways, or all colorways. You still have these options if you're exporting a batch of project files. Just make sure with your batch export, these settings should actually be the same for all of those files. So now on this screen, we can actually set some of our optimization settings. Here we can actually say if we want to update an existing product or not. I'm going to say no, I don't have this garment in platform yet. We can go ahead and select the default load settings. Here are our default Clo optimization settings, and these usually do not need to be changed. However, there are some use cases where you would want to modify these settings. What we really want to edit is within our texture compression settings. So we have this new ability to bake ambient occlusion, and this is really good for all of our apparel products. This will bake in like a slight shadow onto the garment, which really enhances the realism of the garment. Under resolution, I find that I'm constantly changing this to 4K, but that's because I'm focused on the material quality and a little less on my file size. If you are focused on your file size, you can leave your resolution at 2K and the aggression at 3. And on this last screen, we can actually add tags and attributes. I'm going to add SS24, and to actually add a tag in the plugin, you'll type it in, and don't forget to press the plus icon to actually add it. And at this point, if we are happy with all of our settings, we can go ahead and press the start button. I'm going to minimize Clo first, because once we press start, I won't be able to minimize the screen. I will only be able to move it out of the way. Once your export and upload is complete, your screen will update and let you know that it has been completed. At this point, you can press the dismiss button, and if you needed to go back, you can go back and upload a different version of these settings, or you could just close out of the whole screen. Let's go ahead and look at our upload. So here's our upload. Over here on the left, we can see all of our product details. Specifically, we can see the optimization and texture compression settings used. And down here under downloadable assets, we can see our optimization output. And here we see that we have an 8.9 megabyte file, which is great considering we left our resolution at 4K. And now we have uploaded and optimized our asset automatically through the VNTANA Clo plugin.